Oh, well, looky here. When I take a glance at my clock, I can tell it's demon time. Before I have this review of chapter 168 of Jujutsu Kaisen, please do me a favor, leave your own thoughts on the chapter in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, make sure to hit that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come with the channel. Now, let's get into it. What's up, guys? I got a pencil here, and here we are to review chapter 168 of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is titled Tokyo Colony. No, shoot, Tokyo number 1 Colony 8. And before we even hop into the chapter, we talk about these bomb, juicy, delectable color pages, my boy. Oh my lord, these things are fine. Let's talk about the first one. So we get to see Yuji and Yuta, the Y gang stand up. But no, in actuality, like, it's kind of weird because these two are like main characters. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was based around Yuta, and obviously Jujutsu Kaisen is based around Yuji for the most part. And it's just like after their one fight, we got so little interaction between these two. It's like, I want more. Please just give me more. But in actual, like, the color page itself, color page is heat. I love how you can see Rika like fading into Yuta, and it's almost hard to see her because she fades into the shirt a bit. I love how this is like, it's his more modern incarnation, but still with the sadness of the original. Like, to be fair, he doesn't look as much of a menace in the sea as much. He looks like just a sad boy, and that lines up with the movie that's going to drop soon. So it makes sense why they would portray this one, since this is the Weekly Shonen Jump cover. So they are trying to hype the movie up at the same time while still trying to hype up everything else. You can even see the movie promotional stuff in the top right, and then of course Yuji on Demon Time. And I always find it interesting, like, these two characters have such complete opposite dispositions, and it's so cool to see just in this color page alone. Like, Yuji's out here glaring at the camera, scarred up, ready for battle. Meanwhile, Yuji's like, I mean, if we have to. And I don't know, these guys are cool. I would have loved to see them team up to fight somebody. I know there's still a 100% chance that could happen, and I really hope it does. But still, I just really want to see these two fight. And honestly, these colors are just fire. Like, Akutami Sensei rarely, at least on the top of the dome, rarely colors stuff, but nah, their coloring job is amazing here. From Yuji's whole outfit to the variations in colors with Yuta's own shirt with the drawing with Rika, everything fire. But then of course, I guess Akutami Sensei just felt like blessing us this week, because in the same vein, in the same chapter, in the same momentary lapse of judgment, I have a lapse of judgment looking at this next color page, which is the popularity poll. And we get our top 3, and it is Megami at number 1, Gojo at number 2, and Yuji at number 3. And y'all Megami fans, y'all be wild. Like, no, I'm kidding. But no, who's actually wild is the Jogo fan. Like, not Jogo fans. I said Jogo, the Gojo fans, because y'all, this man hasn't appeared in the manga in like almost a year and a half, if not 2 years at this point. What was the last chapter he was in? Like, I think it was literally pre-100s. Hold on, I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back, and I'm right. This man has been shown, like, he hasn't been present in the narrative since, like, chapter 90. He may have been shown in a flashback or two or mentioned, but he hasn't been relevant in forever. I mean, like, to be fair, I get why he gets number 2 in comparison, because I know a lot of anime readers, myself, well, anime readers, I'm a certified idiot, but I know a lot of anime watchers straight hopped onto the manga, and of course, they're still riding that anime hype wave, and thus Gojo is Gojo, and he was amazing in the anime, so I get why he still got number 2. Yuji being number 3, like, I don't know, I really like Yuji, so I feel bad for my boy, but at least he's in the top 3. If he wasn't in the top 3, darn. But shout outs to these 3. And I also, once again, just love the color page here, like, the different details and all the drawing, the different lighting textures. Honestly, the way he even, like, colored Gojo's hair differently, and, like, is this, like, golden hour lighting or something like that? Like, this is interesting with, like, the orange tints and shading and stuff like that. Like, I don't know where they're standing, but they're standing in a pretty neat spot. And, like, yeah, it's just a really solid page. And honestly, it's interesting to say this, but in color, the angular nature of Gege's art style stands out like 10 times more. Like, the attention drawn to, like, the sharp points and edges is a lot more. It almost seems more stylized here than it does in the regular manga, and I'm not sure if that's on purpose or just like the colors bringing it out more. But regardless, I'm talking too much about that color page, so we gotta hop into the next color page, which shows blood is thicker than curses. Thicker, like, but in terms of this color page, I do really like it. The two brothers, to be fair, honestly, the three brothers I haven't seen in a while. We've mainly just been following Yuji, but in actuality, like, it's amazing how, in retrospect, these two came to mean so much relative to the modern narrative. Like, we wouldn't have Choso in the group if it wasn't for the two brothers who passed away, and I think that's cool. And the fact that Yuji's related to all of them is also amazing. But then I love how every other one of them, except for Choso's chilling. He's just wearing blood, which is why he's dressed in red, which I think is cool. Like, the detail in this is so amazing. Like, you see all the moths to the flame, which is, I'm assuming, like the sorcerers to the culling game. You get to see everyone else dressed up in these gold chains. Like, even the ugly one, I think Chizu or something like that, he's still like golded up, flexing up. But note what Yuji is wearing. He's wearing shackles and chains because he's a prisoner to Sukuna and the entire world system he lives in. And y'all tell me Yuji ain't one of the best MCs of the modern era? Like, come on now, bro. Yuji is a demon, quite literally. So yeah, all like three back to back, just fire color page after fire color page. Akutami was working this week. I know they were. But enough of that. Let's actually hop into the chapter itself. So we open up. We get to see that Megami is like, he's relatively about that action, because when this eyeball drops down and, you know, detonates for some reason, and this dude goes to just dodge. Hold on. Let me make sure. Let me not even. Reggie. The dude's name is Reggie. I specifically noted, especially going back and editing last week's video, I noticed that I just didn't know his name, and I just kept calling him this dude, Reggie Star. Reggie Star manages to dodge the explosion. Meanwhile, interestingly enough, though, the explosion seems to be directed like towards Megami. Like, it's not like an AoE explosion where it detonates everything around them. It seems to be like one that just blasts directly in Megami's direction. Like, it's almost like, the thing is, the pupil isn't even facing towards him though. Like, it's facing directly towards the ground, but the explosion itself manages to target Megami. Which makes you wonder how this dude's whole curse technique works. As we get to see the person who threw it was Hazenoki Iori, and he essentially ripped out his eye and dropped it as a weapon, and it detonated. And notably, we see him cracking out a tooth, and Megami managed to just eat it. Like, he ate the blast no problem, but now he's dealing with this other chick. And no offense to this woman, but why would you try? Like, Remy, what did you really think was going to happen when you tried to swing on this man? And like, especially with the hair, like, what was the strat? And notably, I love how Megami like weaves, grabs it just yanks her down to the ground. But notably, Megami actually doesn't really harm her that much, because like, when I'm gonna struggle to say his name, I'm just gonna call him Iori. When Iori like lunges down and throws another explosion, Megami actually defends her along with himself. And we see that whatever this dude threw was covered in gasoline. And when this guy like launches his teeth again, when they explode, the explosion is much bigger than the eyeball one from before. And apparently, despite this being a massive explosion, the building kind of ate it, because Reggie walks out of a room and is like, yo, so like, are we rocking with this? Like, are we good? And Iori is like, yeah, no, not really. He ran into the room right before the explosion, just like you did. And it seems like Reggie, despite being he doesn't necessarily seem like the strongest threat out there. I know he has 41 points according to the chapter, so he's not fodder, because this is pre any like point giving rule. So that means that he had to gather all them points himself, and of course he may have had teamwork. He may have just stole a few final kills or anything like that, but obviously he's probably stronger than he looks, and he managed to completely dodge the explosion. Sure, he knew it was coming, but still, he managed to completely evade it, get into a room, and be perfectly fine. And then we get to see that Megami is like still straight up protecting Remy, and notably, I wonder why, right? Like, I'm assuming Remy just reminds him of his sister. So he's like, I can't let her get harmed or else I will feel bad. But at the same time, like, if you don't mind me, my boy, Samuki, she kind of important. Maybe you just gotta get you some points up, Megami. Maybe you gotta, you know what, you do what you gotta do. You gotta gather them points. That's the coming game, my boy. You know what time it is. Then we get to see that Megami tries to, I think something's weird about this, because Megami actually straight up tries to reason with her. He's straight like, okay, now do you understand? These guys literally couldn't care less about protecting you. They almost detonated you right then and there. If I didn't straight up backpack you this entire encounter, even after you tried to stab me and hurt me, you'd be dead. And Megami, he ate some damage from the explosion. Like, he managed to block it with a door, but at the same time, he still is bleeding and stuff like that. And notably, Remy, while his back is turned, because he spared her for some reason, manages to get in a good stab on him, like right in his side, right in his torso. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Remy. I wonder if this has something to do with her curse technique or something like that, or like something with Jujutsu or like binding vows or anything like that, because she keeps bringing up this like sworn knight that like someone will protect him, or someone will protect her. Like, she has so much faith in his words, and I wonder if that maybe it's something. Actually, it may be Reggie's curse technique that has this woman like so head over heels for him and believing everything he says, because like she straight up calls him Reggie Sama, which I ain't too brushed up on my Japanese, I will admit, but I'm pretty sure that's like Lord or something along those lines. So that's pretty high praise for some dude dressed like a bag of receipts. So I think he either may have some control over her, or she's just nuts, like Megami says, because Megami literally is like, yo, you're trash, you're garbage, you're doo-doo water, and you're dumb. Leave me be, or I will score. Like Megami is just, he was about that energy, he was about that action. Like, you can tell by the way he looks at her with this like sheer look of disgust and hatred. But then before like we see any consequences of their respective actions, this other dude comes back, Hari Chizuru, and he's like, hey, golly, you threw some good hands, my boy. I like the full body throw. That was nice. But it seems like you're a little bit bleeding there, buddy. What happened? I thought you were gonna be better than this. Like, did someone throw hands with you, buddy? Are you hurting from that? And Megami is just like, bruh, you really use the elevator? Use the gosh darn stairs. Get your steps in. And before anything can really progress, because before Megami can like make his decision, because he mentally notes like, I really need these people's points. If they total up to 100, I'm literally set right here, right now. That would be great. But before he can do anything about that, he gets that ring from a certain big boy. And Kogane pops up and exclaims the rule. Rule 10, players may transfer points by blah, 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 yada, yada. And we see I love the look here, right? Because first Megami has this like look of blank shock on his face, but then he just gets this deep, happy smile. And to be fair, we've seen Megami smile before, but usually it's the insane smile. But no, this looks like a great, deep, appreciative, like, man, I really, really, really love that Itadori dude. He sticks so well to his word. All right, I'm on that executioner angle, because in the next breath, the moment he had that confirmed, while this dude is still questioning what's going on, Megami hits him straight with the kick, and then insta summons Max Elephant, and Max Elephant with all its thickness slams straight through the building, knocks the dude out, and then he instantly like, yo, I mean, to be fair, he's used 10 shadows like this in a certain kind of way before, but the way he knocks open the wall, knocks the dude out there into free fall with Max Elephant, only to directly combo in the Nue by chasing him out the hole he just made and having Nue drop him directly on top, and he pulls out a knife and just directly into this dude's head. And notably, he takes the full, deep, long fall, like every all the way down to the ground. And these two being sorcerers, they survive it because they're just built different. Unfortunately, this is be like that would be. Oh wait, no. Now I think about it, doesn't even look like Nue dropped him. So Megami didn't even chance like the fall damage. He just straight had Nue hold onto him as he pounded this dude straight into the ground. And somehow this guy is just built different, because he instantly gets back up. This boy right here, Chizuru, he's just a different kind of menace, because he gets right back up. And he's literally about to start fighting again, but then Megami just goes in straight. And he's like, whew. I love this. because he loses control of himself. Because like the moment he does it, and we see the blade dripping with the life substance, I'm not sure if I can say that word, the life substance, we see that he's like questioning himself. He's like, what am I doing? We still need to gather points from here on out, but Samuki won't be forced to participate in the life or death fights. Don't panic. Believe in everyone else. Don't get hung up on these guys' points. I'll do everything I can. And notably that, like, the barrier, or like whatever barrier there was that stood somewhat between Megami and TOJI, is like shattering. Because in this moment, in this very moment, as we see in the very next panel, wielding a blade that killed a sorcerer, Megami has just become the Sorcerer Hunter that he was always meant to be, just like his father. And I think it's amazing. It's also concerning, but it's more amazing because Megami finally, like, this will get me excited. Like, to be fair, Megami's been a cool character for a while, but like this shift in character, this willingness to execute for the sake of someone else, the willingness to do whatever it takes, this is evolution. This is growth, and I'm super excited to see it. And I love just how he doesn't necessarily take pleasure in it, right? He even questions himself as he does it. And then in this next panel, we see that his face is flat. Like he committed an act, and that's all he views it as. There's no like self-hatred, self-regard, nothing. There's no recollection, no like reflection. He's just there, and he's completed his mission. And we get to see that, especially with that just zoom in on his eye, which looks completely fine. And I think that's both the most exciting and scary part about this, because realize if Megami's just on that destroy it all type beat, then that means he has 5 points. He has a 95 to go. That's 19 more sorcerers, and possibly over tens of innocent people, or just non-sorcerers essentially. And that, what will Megami do? That's the main thing. Like, if he goes straight on this sorcerer hunt, and we get this like weird dichotomy where these two are like trying to find each other, like Yuji and Megami are still trying to find each other, but at the same time they're taking different routes. Like Itadori's like maybe trying to convince people to give him his points, only that, and Megami's just like out here slaughtering people, evolving his spirits and involving his control of cursed energy. Ooh, I would love that dichotomy. That'd be great, because like honestly, Megami having something like that would be chef's kiss, just because of how much development it could have in opposition to Yuji, and it could give these two time in such a short time frame to heavily change ideologies and have a conflict when they meet up. Because to be fair, these two don't really fight. Like, I wouldn't even call these two rivals as much as I call them good homies. But at this point, with how strong both of them have become and how much more each one has to grow, like notably, remember all the way back at the beginning of the series, Yuji is supposed to somehow inherit Sukuna's innate technique, and we know Megami has a spirit within him, or has Mahorga, which, when fresh out, did manage to hold its own against 15 Finger Sukuna. So, some stuff could be happening, some stuff could go down, know what I'm saying? Ooh, I'm excited. But then we get to see Reggie and I think his name was Hanzo. I'm sorry, like these guys show up so quickly and there's so many of them that's like, I don't remember. Yeah, oh no, Iori and Reggie, like they float down on these weird umbrella, like on their Mary Poppins type beat. I don't know why, they just float on down and land. And notably, Megami has, like, he's switched over to pure analytics. Like, he now doesn't view, he's essentially viewing these curse users or these sorcerers as curses. He's just thinking of the battle tactics right now. Like, okay, it's a 2v1, but is Remy still here? Because then it can become a 3v1. But regardless, even if it's a 2v1, I may struggle a bit. Maybe I should activate my domain. That should give me something like that. But if they have domain and mine is already still incomplete, they'd likely be able to overwhelm me, and they could either A, escape, or B, just kill me. Is it worth the risk of using domain, draining myself of that much energy and not even getting anything out of it? Like, I love how calculative he is, but notably Iori doesn't give him any time to calculate because he instantly spits out a tooth. And the interesting thing is I guess Iori, I wonder if he can regenerate, but like regenerate based on what? Like, is it cursed energy? Like, how much cursed energy does this guy have that he's literally healing like a legitimate curse? Like, he managed to regrow his eye, he's he keeps throwing out teeth. He's doing just fine. So I wonder what his curse technique really is. If it's just the whole like I can explode body parts thing. How do you keep regenerating them? Does he just make it with curse energy? However, we get to see as Megami's about to get toothed to destruction and despair, some dude comes out the clutch and blocks the explosion for him. And all three of them, Reggie, Yori, and Megami, are like, what just happened? And we get to see this dude ruin the entire tension of the chapter. Not gonna lie, you literally, I don't even care if the chapter was short. Like, ooh, this chapter is, well, to be fair, that's like 3 color pages. But even still, like 3 color pages on, this chapter is like, you could have ended on that one shot of Megami with Megami's eye. That's all you need to end on. You did not need to throw in this comedic dude here, because he just says, you know, I've received 0 damage. Yay. Well, I know this is the comedian dude from all that long ago. For some reason, in my initial reading, since I was like blaze reading through Jujutsu Kaisen, since I had fallen behind a little bit, I thought this dude was Higuruma, and I'm so glad he's not. But yeah, whatever. We're getting him next chapter. Great. Honestly, I would have very much preferred Megami the Sorcerer Killer going out on 2 sorcerers, but you know, we take what we can get. It'd be like, I want to be like that sometimes. However, I do really, really love this chapter. Like, there's, as much as the tension is kind of shot right there at the very end, right when it was like ramping up to be something super duper intense, and we get this whole revelation and resolution for Megami to become whatever it needs to go save Samuki and save his sister. You fumbled the bag a little bit at the end of the day, but I will let it slide. This is still a 10 out of 10 chapter to me, just because of what it does for Megami in terms of his fighting style, in terms of his resolve, in terms of his motives, in terms of the entire scenario that we're in. Now with the points giving rule, the whole scenario has changed. This means that the 2-on-1 can turn on each other. This means that things can happen, and I'm so excited. I'm honestly interested to see how that rule, I think I said this last chapter review too, but how that rule affects the whole game on a meta scale, and if this is going to like result in point isolation and stuff like that, and if more and more rules are going to be added at an exorbitant rate because people are teaming up and like working together and combining their points and voting and stuff like. I'm very, very excited. But those are my thoughts on the chapter. Please tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off.